Hello, my name is Mr. Tacalian, and welcome back to Buried, Chapter 4. Ooh, be gone, mouse, be gone. The ride up the elevator is tense. I take a series of deep breaths, doing everything I can to stay in control. Amy has gotten back to her feet, but her head is pressed against the elevator wall as she suppresses a series of sobs. I find myself trying to remember the way those creatures looked, but my mind seems to shudder at the effort. I have seen something that is an impossibility, a mockery of what I know is real. This fills me with a terror that dwarfs anything else I have felt since discovering the facility. I try to focus my mind on something else, and remember Marcus's threats. I wonder if we'll see Marcus again, I say, mostly to myself. Do you think Marcus got away from those things? Amy asks. Probably. I sort of hope not. Probably did. She opens her mouth, as if to say something, but her mouth simply hangs open. He's gone, I assure her. Don't worry about him. We have bigger problems to worry about right now. But honestly, I'm speaking more to myself than her. So, I say, how did you end up here? She gives a nervous chuckle and shrugs. I used to work with the Pentagon. It was some pretty upper alien stuff that I still can't discuss. I assume this place is even more upper alien, I said. This place isn't even on the scale, she answers. My other job was a cakewalk compared to this. Then why stay? Because the money is ridiculous. I have a 13-year-old daughter already talking about Harvard. You do the math. Wait. Right. That's better, kinda. Harvard, huh? That's ambitious. Any other kids? No, just the one. Whoops, sorry. Reading too much makes me yawn. Her dad split on us when she was 3. I never remarried, so no siblings for her. I may have only gotten one, but the one I got is amazing. Amy pauses before continuing softly. What if I never see? Her voice breaks off, the words too terrible to say, her eyes filled with tears. The elevator comes to a stop, the slight ding of it interrupting the movement. Amy hastily swipes her eyes, and we waste no time in getting back inside the command center. Ridiculous money. Anyone can be bought with enough money, huh? I ready the rifle, suddenly certain that there are more of those creatures waiting for us in the hallway of the second level. But the way is clear, allowing us to haul ass to the command center. Once again, I find myself staring at the screen that shows my ruined worksite. Okay, Amy says, typing commands rapidly. It can't be that hard. I keep peeking over my shoulder, my senses feeling as if monsters are sneaking up on us mere inches away. I then think of Dennis and wonder how he is faring back on level 3. Is he safe? I look back to the screens and see that Amy has finally found what she's looking for. A prompt on the screen says, override of hangar doors and all level 3 locks require clearance code. Amy types in a number with shaking fingers and the screen goes black for a moment. The moment the words override confirmed come to the screen, Amy jumps up from the chair and heads out of the room. We have to be quick, she says. We have exactly 20 minutes to open those hangar doors. What happens in 20 minutes? Oh, I'm wasting time. The locks will kick in again, she says. Ooh, security measure. I couldn't do anything about it. I follow her out of the command center and bound back down the hallway towards the same elevator that brought us here. Amy punches the elevator button and the doors slide open. We're taking this same elevator back to the biochem room? I ask. Those creatures are still down there. It's the only way back down, she says. The only way is blocked by those hydraulic doors we pulled. Hopefully, the creatures left. Hopefully. Neither of us have anything else as we share a look of immense dread. We step back into the elevator and head back down to the biochem room on level 3. I wonder how he's doing. Oh yes, I remember this place. Lovely. Ooh, what if he's still here though? I've never left. As the elevator doors open, we peer out, looking to see if creatures are still in the area. Oh my god, shut up. But it's all clear, save that strange green chemical leaking out the tank I accidentally shot. The moss has started to expand and climb up the sides of some of the tanks. I'm distracted for a moment before realizing we need to move. When Amy looks to me, her eyes are clear and strong. Marcus wasn't entirely wrong, Amy says as we start walking back towards the hangar doors. About what? About how I'm partially to blame for this. Why did you press the button? Some of the things we do here, it's scary. We should have known that one day something like this would happen. Everyone here with knowledge of what goes on in level 3 is to blame, she says. It's a highly advanced research facility, doing amazing but risky stuff. So yeah, you're partially to blame by just working here, but I can understand the dedication. So why don't you tell me a bit more about what does go on in level 3, I ask. Are you familiar with a large Hadron Collider over in Switzerland? I've heard the phrase, but that's about it. It's a powerful particle accelerator. Right now, they're using it to try and create what's called dark matter. It's theorized that this dark matter actually makes up the majority of the universe, but parts of the universe very different from ours. My guess is that the people at the LHC will probably create their first dark matter particle in about 2018 or 2019. Here in this facility, we were able to create one almost 10 years ago. It was the key to our research. Does this have something to do with those things? What does this matter do? Create doors? Energy? What is it? We use dark matter to assist with instantaneous transfer of a subject, but we have yet to perfect it or understand why it works. So, you're saying it lets you get access to different dimensions? That's the theory, she says. During the point-to-point transfer, the subjects are gone for about 3 to 6 seconds. There's no way to see or measure their presence, but they exist somewhere. From what we can tell, they exist in a kind of void. Have you done it with people? We have sent human subjects through. Almost all of them have returned successfully. I make an involuntary grimace. Almost. There was one man, Dr. Kanan, who didn't return. We don't know where. She trails off, taking a moment to collect herself. Sorry I asked, I say, feeling my mind start to bend inward again. As we continue to walk between the silos, we walk past the area where we left Marcus behind. But he's long gone. Maybe he found a way out. I realize that we are walking very close together between the silos, perhaps trying to create the illusion of safety. We reach the exit connecting to the hangar doors, where Dennis hopefully still is. My guts clench, and my heart hammers in my chest, so we open the door and walk through. I left the rifle, but at first it seems that there is nothing waiting for us, and that's when I see the glowing, hulking shape to my left, closing in fast. It's one of the aliens! It's the aliens! Go back to these doors now. The creature is about 10 feet away and coming in quickly, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. Yawn. Oh my god. Okay. I drop to the ground, make myself a smaller target, and raise the rifle. I'm not sure if I should just unload on the thing, or try to be choosy with my shots and weaken it, or at least slow it down. Shoot to weaken, shoot to kill. Let's conserve. Did I make a wrong mistake? My shot causes the entire milky white frame to jerk to the floor. It flounders, its ghost-like tentacles withering with rage as it cries out to me. It seems to turn and jerk away, part of it appearing and disappearing every few feet. It moves down the hall and out of sight. I look quickly around for hours, but there is only Emmy. She looks at where the monster went with wide eyes. Her face is pale, and I wonder if, like me, she is able to feel her mind trying to retreat. Come on, I say. Let's find Dennis and get through these hangar doors. Amy glances at her watch and nods. We're already down to 6 minutes. We turn towards the hangar doors, and I'm a little disgusted with myself because the bloody scene that was so shocked me before now seems mild. Amy goes to work on the computer control on the side of the doors. She starts punching in keys before saying, "This is going to take some time." "I thought you already unlocked it," I asked. "I did, but for this door, there's still security permissions I need to hack. Marcus would have known how to do this." She trails off, and decided to let her do her work. Suddenly, something slams into me. I feel my feet leave the floor and I am literally thrown across the concrete. I look up in time to see one of the creatures. It's apparently in no hurry to attack me again, focusing on Amy instead. She's not armed. I need to come up with a plan to get this thing away from her so she can focus on getting the door open. It raises one of its flickering appendages, making me certain that part of its makeup is pure light and energy. I could easily take a shot with my rifle, but my mind again goes to how much remaining ammo I have. The only other thing I can think of is to get it to chase me and lead it away from this room, somewhere. Let's try to distract. Hey! I yell. Best yell ever. Right here! Come and get me! I'm the one that shot your buddy. It turns to me, and I am again faced with staring at something that has no business in this world, in this reality. Its body gives us a sort of glow around the center part. A bulbous core that is branched off into two humps, very much like a spider. Again, I sense that this visual information is not accurate, but it's the best my simple mind can do to make sense of this impossible creature. It starts lurching towards me and lets out a shriek of agony that makes my ears feel like they'll explode. Now that I'm sure it's coming after me, I take off running and head into another hallway we haven't been down. I found myself in an industrial looking area, and I am pleased to find that the monster has followed me through. Did I make the right decision? Like Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger. The room seems to be an assortment of old pipes and tanks. I assume some of them run further down into other areas of the facility. With the creatures on my tail, I dash into the maze of metal, hoping to lose it. It's definitely having a harder time squeezing through than I am, and that slows it down. Of course, the room's not a cage of any kind. The thing is still heading towards me, shredding through the pipes as it rages. I notice that sometimes it is breaking the steel girders, but other times it seems like it's somehow merging or changing them. Pipes that were separated are now connected together in a way that makes my head hurt. I finally get a good amount of distance between myself and the creature. I think it's lost my trail. I need to get back to those hangar doors. There's not much time before they close shut. But if I make a sound, that creature could be on my heels again. Do I hide and escape quietly, or run as fast as I can? Let's try to be quiet. I take care to stay silent, twisting myself through some more pipes, and I make my way back towards the door that I entered through. The creature doesn't seem to pick up on this. I see its glowing back as I come around. It lets out a static scream that makes my insides feel like jelly. But I don't even look back. I slide quietly through the rusted obstacle course and tiptoe back to the hangar doors. Have you opened the door yet? Amy? Amy, have you opened the door? Have you opened the door? Come on, Amy. You're making me on. Speed up there. Speed up. Whoa, okay. I burst back into the large room and see Amy still working on the computer terminal by the hangar doors. You okay, I ask Amy? I can clearly see her battling for control of our facilities. Steel determination wins out, and she gives a grim nod. Any sign of where Dennis went? I ask, hoping she doesn't notice his body somewhere. No, she replies. It's then that I realize that I have no idea how many rounds I have remaining in the rifle. This isn't a model I'm familiar with. Outside of some deer hunting, I'm not much of an expert in firearms. Still, I am able to locate the chamber easily and see that there are 4 rounds left. Not great, but it could be worse. How are we on time, I ask. 2 minutes. I'm going as fast as I can, she says. Amy does her best to focus on the keyboard, but there is still no sign of Dennis. Before I have time to look around, a screeching sound erupts from the other end of the room. I bring the rifle up in a shooter's stance, turn around. The hangar door is right behind me, no signs of Dennis, and a closing window of time. I have to be confident. Yet, when 2 monsters come around the corner, my body wants to shut down. The appendages seem to jump in time and space, reaching out for a split second, independent of the body, and then disappearing back to where they came from. It turns and screeches at me, its glowing tentacles staking out of his body. My knees tremble uncontrollably. Beg your pardon. Behind me, Amy shrieks. I feel myself losing control, my mind sliding into the abyss of insanity. I pull myself back from the brink. I've got to stay in control. Do I shoot them or turn away? I could stand here and use my last 4 shots, but what good would that do? So instead, I turn and face the hangar doors. How much longer before you can open these things? Not long, she says, furiously typing in the terminal as commands flood the screen. I doubt it, I think to myself. Can I do anything to help? I ask. She doesn't answer. Deep in concentration, I turn back around and see a looming shape appear. The creature comes around the corner, screaming out that static-like sound. I step away from Amy, and the hangar doors towards the monster, ready to defend her. I ready my rifle, but the creature wastes no time. It makes that jerky motion towards me, and there's a sharp pain in my chest as it collides with me. Or through me, it's hard to tell. My instinct is to try to grapple or hold this thing down, but then I realize I don't even know if that will work. It's be ballsy. I tried to grapple the creature, but it feels very different from my struggle with Marcus earlier. It's not easily grabbed. My fingers slide through parts of it, some parts like a ghost, others like a jellyfish. Touching it burns my hands, but only slightly. When I realize I can't grip it, I quickly spring away and turn to face it. With a scream of defiance, I raise the rifle and put a round in its core. The shot lands dead center, and the light inside of it flickers almost violently. It falls back against the wall, issuing a hiss of its telltale static noise. It then jerks away and retreats, at least for now. Another terror appears, as if out of nowhere, screaming at me with its high-pitched whine. It bounds forward, charging in a strange, spastic way. I aim the rifle, intending to take part of this one in the gore too. I take several shots, but it's still coming at me. As it slams into me, I realize that I only have 1 bullet left. On contact, the wind is knocked out of my lungs, and the back of my head strikes the floor. But neither of these things is as alarming as the fact that the beast is on top of me. Its exterior is like a seashell that has been pounded by the surf for so long that it has lost all edges and ridges. But the grip it tries to capture me with is pure violence. I feel those light-soaked appendages start to wrap around me. I raise the rifle, knowing I still have 1 shot left. The weight of the monster is erratic. One moment I feel weightless, another I feel like I'm going to be crushed. I push upwards with the rifle to aim, but it's overpowering me. I'm not sure I'll be able to get an effective shot off. I see the core of its body, a spider-like shape, connected to the rest of it by thin white strings of tissue. I know I'll be dead within seconds, unless I can manage a shot, but I don't know where to aim. This thing has already survived for so long. Do you shoot for the center, or do I shoot for the tentacles? Let's go for the tentacles, people! The creature is seconds away from tearing into my shoulder. I have to stop it now. I grunt as I try to angle the rifle in the direction of the beast's formless limbs. The appendages begin tugging down their barrel, and it's at that moment that I pull the trigger, unleashing my final shot. The shot aggregates enough to win some breathing room, but I've saved my shoulder, but this thing's still alive and kicking. Thank God I saved this bullet earlier. But then I see the creature extend its tentacle in a violent whip-like motion, scampering away while making that static, screeching sound. The creature disappears into thin air and reappears a few feet from me, retreating. With a shudder and a cry of desperation, I get to my feet just in time to see the monster head in the direction of the biochem room. Amy looks over at me from our terminal at the hangar doors, looking petrified. I manage to help myself up when I see another figure nearing us, but to my relief, I realize it's a human figure, Dennis, with a gun. "You okay, boss?" he asks, but his eyes aren't on me. They are looking at the creature, trying to understand exactly what he has just seen.
A human being yawning, that is what he saw.
About 15 minutes ago, I hear the door to that maintenance room unlock, Dennis says, pointing to the room I tried to bust my way into earlier. Ah, Amy says. When I did the override up at the command center, it unlocked all small doors down here, including that maintenance room. I went inside there and hid, Dennis continues, and while I was waiting for you to come back, I found a massive trunk. There are a few guns in it, so I grabbed this one, he says, patting his shotgun. Oh, it's a shotgun. More glad that he's safe, to be honest, at the moment. Thanks, boss. Me too. She doesn't break eye contact with the panel. Almost done, she replies. Suddenly, without warning, a shot ricochets off the wall behind Amy's head. Startled, we look around, confused. Did Dennis' gun go off? When another shot blasts near us again, we all drop to the floor. It's Marcus. I look around, wondering who or what could possibly be shooting at us. Those creatures don't do anything that sounds remotely like gunfire. And then I see him. Marcus. I should have killed him when I had the chance. He has a rifle, and is walking towards us as an insane look in his eyes. You all deserve to die, he screams, unleashing another round that I hear whiz by my head. Dennis doesn't hesitate. He stands up and shoots at Marcus, causing him to retreat. Let's keep Amy calm. You know, we need to keep her calm. Almost there, she says quietly. She makes a few final key presses and says, done! The doors open with a noise of hydraulics and a whoosh of air. When Mark is pinned down by Dennis' gunfire, we start moving towards the doors. At that moment, another creature jerks into existence around the corner between us and Marcus. Oh no! Shit, Marcus says, and starts unloading into it. But then he learns the same lesson we did. This only slows the creature down. Marcus gives us one last look, and then turns and runs off in another direction. Dennis, Amy, and I climb up and head through the doors, moving on nothing more than adrenaline. I see her look longingly at the maintenance room Dennis took the shotgun from. You get into the hangar, Dennis says. I'll get some more firepower. Satisfied with the plan, Amy heads through the door. We scramble inside, finally inside the hangar. Dennis approaches from behind, holding several guns and looking like a kid who grabbed an armful of Halloween candy. Amy reaches out for a 9mm with one hand. Dennis turns to me and holds out a shotgun and a handgun for me to choose. Both look deadly. The shotgun looks more powerful, but the handgun will probably be more precise. We'll let him keep the shotgun. He's not in that great condition anyway. He took the handgun.
The big yawn.
Right. I select the handgun, and I'm comforted by the way it seems to fit perfectly in my shaky grip. There are more creatures coming, as many as a dozen. They are floating down the hole quickly, their tentacles slithering. The way their light seems to mingle together is almost beautiful. Close the door, I yell at Amy. She dashes to another terminal mounted on the inside of the hangar doors and tries desperately to close them. It's not working, she says, tears in her eyes. This terminal is disabled. Dennis looks through the open doors, readying himself to shoot the first monster than near us. Readying himself to shoot the first monster than near us. Okay. Should we try to slow a few down, or just run for it? He asks, his gun at the ready. Fire away, or let's run for it. Let's run for it. Save Anno.
We can't kill him anyway. We'll probably kill him when Yonzo.
Good idea. Yeah, she agrees. With that, we turn around and continue to sprint out into the hangar floor. Ooh. Can we escape now? The room is enormous. So large that to call it a room seems silly. A large concrete floor stretches out below an expansive lofted ceiling. The area is mostly empty, except for one side which has rows and rows of metal barriers. Give me a moment. Back on the far wall is a lit area that seems to expose more rooms, labs, and machinery. Also, in the rear of the hangar, I can see some kind of chamber or control center. Dennis and I follow Amy across the hangar floor. Behind us, a series of rough slithering sounds tell us that the creatures have made their way into the hangar. From somewhere up here, a loud buzzing noise sounds out. It reminds me of the slight buzzing noise I've heard in the forest, the noise that got me into all of this trouble in the first place. I look ahead and see that in the far back of the hangar, a bright red light is flashing. There's a small hatch or door below the light. That hatch is open, and I can see a shape inside of it. I can barely make out the figure of a man standing there, holding an industrial microphone, and as soon as I see him, I hear his huge, amplified voice. Blares down over an intercom system, and he sounds pissed. I don't know who the hell you are, he says, that this is a government facility on lockdown, and there are protocols. 2. Shit. I assume the curse coincides with the exact moment he sees the creatures. Wow. They are making their way through the hangar doors. There are maybe 20 feet between us and the creatures. I act instinctively, firing twice as the handgun comes alive in my hands. One shot goes into the core of one monster, causing it to jerk backwards. Another shot slows down another. The accuracy I get with the 9mm is amazing. Amy and Dennis take the cue and start firing as well. The floor becomes littered with a swiveling white fluid from the wounded creatures' bodies, but they are not slowing down. The alarm keeps streaking behind us. When I turn to see if anything has changed back there, I trip over my feet. I hit the floor hard, in almost comic fashion, slide several feet across the floor. On the ground, I see that we have managed to turn back 4 of them, but I also see them at the estimate of a dozen is off. There are at least 20 of them. They're sick, dim light, sinister and gloomy. Their appendages seem to bind together as they come forward. My only hope of survival is that the man in the far doorway somehow shuts that hangar doors. His voice comes blaring over the intercom again, broken by the booming noise of the gunfire that we are laying down. Run here, towards the isolation chamber. I'm not sure how much time we have. I've realized that I can sprint ahead of Amy and Dennis, or I can hand back and give them cover. The more the merrier. More people we've got, better chance we are of surviving. Go inside, where that guy is, I say. We'll make sure we don't have any of those things right on our tails. I'll hold him back for a while. I know it sounds macho, but it also feels like the right thing to do. I have to at least try to give us some kind of chance for escape. So as Amy and Dennis run through the doors, I blast the next thing that I see moving. All I get from my troubles is that static-like hiss and a high-pitched whistling noise. I'm able to beat them back a bit, forcing them to retreat. Each flicker of light is a small victory. Nothing else. I'm buying Amy and Dennis time. When I'm certain there is nothing more I can do, I turn and run. I hustle, quickly, catching up to Amy and Dennis, who stop and turn to provide me with cover fire. There, Amy says, pointing to the small door where the man was standing earlier. The swarm is less than 15 feet away now, so furious that they are pushing through one another to get to us. I raise the handgun and fire, taking my time to aim. I hit one in a spider-like part of his body. I fire again, this time taking one in the core. I place 2 more rounds into this creature, eventually causing it to move backwards. We are in the middle of the hangar floor now, with the isolated chamber ahead and me yawning. And the monsters behind. Beside me, Dennis also fires. The kick of the gun jolts him, probably a result of him being weakened from the blood loss. His shot lands true though, causing a jerking stumble and a flickering of his light. We're almost in, Amy yells as we get close to the door. You hope will save us. Dash aside, or tell him to get in first. They're both weakened. Amy is weakened more mentally than anything else. Get inside, I tell you, Amy and Dennis, motioning for them to get moving with my gun. I open the door and give Dennis a push towards it. He resists, more eager to try taking down another one of the beasts before he makes it to the safety, but he eventually gives in. I wait a beat to make sure Amy is inside too. I fire off a few rounds on the creatures that are still headed for us, hoping to slow them down. When Amy and Dennis clear the door, I nearly dash inside, then feel something hot seep into my back. Roger! Dennis yells. The pain in my back is so immense that I barely notice the fact that I have been lifted from the floor. I look down and see that one of the creatures is using its flowing arms to grab me by my waist, its tentacles wrapping around me. It lifts me into the air, as if presenting me as a trophy to its friends. I try to focus, attempting to angle my arm in a way that will allow me to aim the handgun and place a bullet in its body. But it is shaking me violently, and its body parts are appearing and disappearing in a way that makes no sense, another oddity of its structure. I can literally do nothing more than hang there like a rag doll, hoping to be saved. As it continues to hoist me up, screeching its approval, Dennis comes back out of the room and fires off a shot. The bullet catches the monster on the underside of its core, sending it backwards and causing it to freeze for a moment. It releases me, and I hit the ground, dropping my gun and again finding myself unable to breathe. I feel slightly dizzy, but that fades when I see Dennis still standing outside of the door. He's firing into the beast like a madman. It doesn't see the one to his left, coming in along the edge of the wall. Dennis! Hearing my voice, he turns to look directly at me, but this is the opposite of what he needs to do. Behind him, the creature glides up, shaking back and forth in space as it moves. But by the time Dennis turns and sees the creature coming, he has already drawn several of his appendages back to strike. Dennis tries to raise his gun, but it's knocked away by one of the tentacles. A second tentacle strikes, and Dennis is spun around and thrown off balance by the attack. Dennis catches himself before falling. A third tentacle wraps around Dennis's forearm, and I can see it squeeze, tightening instantly. The tip of the appendage passes clean through his hand, its blood-soaked tip poking out through his palm. Dennis' face grins with pain as he tries to wrench his arm free, but the creature's tentacle has his hand speared, like a nail through wood. In a moment of dark clarity, I realize that I can free him with a clean shot in the monster's tentacle, but it will likely mean blowing Dennis' hand off. Dennis! I yell over the creature's high-pitched static sound. Can you get free? I have a shot. Maybe. No! Dennis grabs as the creature tosses him around by his hand like a puppet. Don't shoot. I can get free. I can't tell if he's right. The other monsters are starting to encircle him. I need to act fast. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, press that like button below. And if you want to, subscribe. And I will see you in the next episode, or the part 2 of chapter 4 of Buried. So, thanks.